Okay, I'm going to nail it this time. I'm going to finish off all these new Thomas toys. For me, it is Christmas Eve, so I'd like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. I'm going to try and get this up loaded as soon as I can, and I'm building up to showing my whole Thomas collection on this table. That's what I'm building to, but you need to see all the riffraff first. And the Thomas we're going to kick off with is a really, really important one with a great story around it. It's this one right here. You know, it's funny, the Thomases land at my place sometimes in the most bizarre way. This would be what I classify one of the most difficult to find Thomas tanks if you're a collector. It's a oldie, it's a rare one, and I came home from being out shopping with my family and there was a plastic bag on my front doorstep, and lo and behold, what was inside was this Thomas tank. And I tell you what, I nearly keeled over and died. The gentleman who landed this Thomas on my front door is a member of Lions Australia. His name is Greg Dunn. He's a district governor. It says 201-N5, whatever that means. So I really like to thank you for what you've done for me. My rapidly growing Thomas tank collection has a direct relationship to my local charity shop, which is a Lions shop. And I've got to know the staff down there, and I knew them sort of well before I had my Thomas collection. I used to go down there and get props for the silly little videos that I would make. And they used to say to me, "Oh, what do you want that for?" And I say, "Oh, I'm making a fake and gay video for YouTube." And they used to just have a laugh. But when they sort of said to me, "Hey, are you interested in some of the Thomas toys that come through the shop?" I said, "Yeah, I'll have a look at it, and I'll pay for it, of course." And then we worked out that I had a far better relationship with these people when I said, "Hey, well, look, I do a lot of toy reviews for YouTube. I've got a lot of toys that I don't need and use. Would you like to take them into your shop and sell them on?" And it's become a very, very worthwhile relationship for both of us. Anyone who's been keeping count and watching at the way the Thomas stuff lands on me would know that my collection is rapidly growing. It's expanding at an enormous rate. And early this year, I was asked to come along and speak at one of the dinner nights that the Lions Club does. And I took along about a quarter of the Thomas collection that I've got, and it became, hopefully, a very interesting chat. But more so the fact of the relationship between the Lions Club and what I do on YouTube. And that was really important to get across to the members who were there. At the time of making this video, I hadn't contacted Greg Dunn yet and thanked him for landing this beautiful Thomas model on me. But I'm sure you'll hear about it by the time the video goes up onto YouTube. And one thing I will say is that when I did go along to the dinner night, it's obvious that the Lions Club is full of people who are can-do people. They are successful people and they are out to help other people. And it was very, very interesting to see the mechanisms that they work in the way they decide to help others. I very much enjoyed their company that night. And hopefully they enjoyed my twisted tale about how my Thomas the Tank collection came about. Well, just my final words on this model. You know, from that Mini-Me giveaway, I know that very few people have this. Well, the people who entered the giveaway rarely ever showed this model. It's hard to find one. It's made by ERTL. It's, you know, they did some fantastic things with the Thomas and Friends merchandise, and this would have to be the pinnacle, I think. Really, the only criticism I would have, and I shouldn't criticise this model at all, but it doesn't have that white on the front. But apart from that, it's an absolute stunner. I only wish we had Thomas and Friends toys which were as beautiful as this one today. And here's a real mixed bag of ERTLs that have been collected over the last 6 months. And these are the ones which don't come through that often. They're a little bit hard to find. What I say to people is, if you see an ERTL, just get it. Don't let it go. And there's probably two here that we'll take a closer look at. For obvious reasons. Well, here's Lady, and this would possibly be one of the most popular characters from years gone by. I don't know how many people have asked me about Lady or asked to have one of the ones that I've got and all the rest of it. But this one's in pretty good nick, considering, you know, it's out of its box and it's been played with. I think it's got a sticker missing from the cab at the front, but it's all there, and I'm very, very happy to have another Lady. And I'm also happy to have another Thomas, and this one has got a lot of battle damage. And you know, I don't mind toys that come in like this and they've got things broken off. And what it says to me is, well, this Thomas has been loved. It's been played with, It's had a rough life, but I tell you what, I bet you it's brought some joy to some children. And what I do worry about is when a toy lands on me and it looks like it's basically just been dragged out of the box and never played with. That's not what toys are about. Oh, if only this Thomas could talk, imagine the tales he'd tell of being sideswiped. Well, these next Thomas toys are obviously very popular. A lot of these come through via the charity shop. I won't be keeping these, I'll probably boomerang these back to the shop so other children can enjoy these. Remember, I only collect Thomas. This Percy here is a 1997, the one next to him is 2003, that one there is a 2003, that James is a 1998, there's a 2003 James next to him, another 2003 James next to him, and another 2003. And if you had these, they worked fairly simply. They're all Tomy toys as well. You got your little train there, you push the driver down, and you let it go. Oops, that wasn't meant to happen. I know someone will say, why don't you give Percy a spin? Let's grab 1997 Percy, and let's let him rip. Go for it, Percy. Whoa! That smashed into James there. You okay, James? Yeah, I'm alright. So, moving right along to the Thomases of the same type. And those three are Tomy, they're all 1997. Moving along a bit, there is a 2003 Tomy. And if we go one more along again, that one's slightly different. It's a Hit Toy Company Thomas. It's 2007, and it's interesting. It's got a different type of wheel. It's got that splasher white that I always talk about, and it feels different. I suppose it's difficult to quantify this, but it feels different when you pick it up compared to the what I classify as the classic Tomy toys. Well, here's the 2007 one, which is made by the Hit Toy Company. It looks great, you know, little driver works on it, the wheels move. But it's got one little bugbear that you see in a lot of modern toys today, and that's this. These days, a lot of toys have a plastic piece which is actually put in through the carton that the toy is packed in, and you need a screwdriver. In this case, you need, looks like a Phillips head, to take that piece off, and it's for some people they don't have that. So obviously in this case, whoever owned this toy before, well, they just wrenched the box away from underneath and they've left the cardboard of the box there, and the piece which should have been taken off has been left there. But I just find all this to be highly annoying. I don't know what your thoughts are on the way toys are packaged today. And again, there's a hard up comparison of the old classic style face we saw in the yesteryear toys versus the CGI face that we see on toys of today. Well, I purchased this absolutely beautiful ride-on Thomas for myself. I did a video about this, well, a few videos ago, because there are some issues if you put the water in the wrong spot, and if you get water inside this Thomas, all your beautiful functions which are up here fail to work. And hopefully I'll be able to help some people get out of trouble if they have the same thing happen. But it is an absolutely beautiful looking machine. I've seen on the web in the USA there's a version of this that blows bubbles. I haven't seen the bubble blowing version one. Maybe if you've got it you can tell me what it's like. My 3-year-old's a little bit big for this toy, but what is really impressive is this control panel. You can do all sorts of stuff up here. Everything here works again now. And it's got a little stash or stowage area. You can put all your favourite things in there. And just on the water in this toy, and someone left a comment, oh, but you know, we read instructions and it would never happen to me or whatever. You got to remember that sometimes, well, kids don't read instructions. The instructions, you know, what do? You put the instructions on the face? The way I see this, I'll be quite blunt here, this is a really poor design. You've got this little tiny hole to put the water in the right spot. If the water gets put in the wrong spot, well, where does it go? It dumps straight into Thomas. Once the water's in there, it destroys this. So what it needs is those two little holes which are in there, which I speak about in the other video. It needs a bypass, a couple of tubes that basically run straight through and dump the water at the bottom and not inside Thomas. That's the way this toy should have been designed. And what is interesting, in the instructions it does say that if you do put water in the wrong spot, it will affect the functionality of this toy, but nowhere in instructions does it talk about getting functionality back, and that was what my video was about. It did take all up about 3 days for me to solve the water problem with this, to get all the water out from inside of Thomas, and it's got all of its functions back and works perfectly fine now. And sadly, some people have misinterpreted that video as me having a go at this toy. In no way was it having a go at this toy. I absolutely love this toy, it's beautiful. It's an absolute must-have as far as I'm concerned. Okay, who's got these storage cases? These two here are from 2002 and they are absolutely beautiful. They've got handles on top, you can carry them like a case or load it up if you take plays or take-alongs. And this one here is a very different design. It's from 2009, but nevertheless, it's very appealing to the eye. What I do like about the 2002 version is the very, very cheeky face, and if I open it up and split it, you can see what goes on inside. You put your models in there. Plenty of room for all your favourite characters. This one isn't labelled, but I bet you for many people, Thomas took the prime position up in the driver's cabin. The 2009 storage case has a bit of a secret feature, a little bit like Deal or No Deal. Let's open it up and see what it is. Well, in this 2009 storage case, you cannot carry as many as the 2002 one, but there's a little bonus here. There's a section of track, and there's also a little boom gate that you can put up. So if we grab our favourite character, who for this moment is Thomas, we can put him on a little bit of track. We can take him for a spin. Oh no, the boom gate's down. Okay, we're off to go. And you can play all day long and have a whole ton of fun. I'll be pretty straightforward here. I'll tell you which one I like, and it's this one here. It's actually made by Learning Curve. It's got a real solid feel to it. They've stood the test of time. This one here is made by Mattel. There's one thing I really don't like about this, and that's these latches. They don't feel like they would last very long. Maybe if you've got one, you can report back and tell me if it's lasted. Well, all these are Golden Bear toys. All of these are 1995 except for the traction engine. Is it Trevor the traction engine? I hope so. He's 2001. But I'll tell you one thing about the Golden Bear toys that I know is these things obviously very well built. They are robust and they stand the test of time. The other interesting part about them is they seem to span the same time frame as the ERTL die-cast toys with the Thomas and Friends range. So these were obviously like another option versus Tommy toys back in the day, but the Golden Bear, giving them the thumbs up because they have proven themselves to me over and over. And while we're talking Golden Bear, at my local school fair was this absolutely beautiful set of Golden Bear trains. It's all 1995, and let's see what we've got. We've got Annie and Clarabel, a carriage. There's two Troublesome Trucks, I'll show you the faces in a second, and a brake van. The full circuit of track there, I just don't have the space to put it up on that table. Does this sound bring back any fond childhood memories? Well, there's a Golden Bear, Annie and Clarabel, and Annie has very much the classic, "Ooh, hello Thomas," face. There is the Golden Bear, Troublesome Trucks, and they look like they're up to some mischief. And there's the Golden Bear brake van. Is that Toad? You guys are going to have to tell me. I got a feeling it's Toad. I'm probably wrong. If I'm wrong, you're going to be yelling at me for years. Well, I consider this a very beautiful set. What is interesting for me, this is the first time I've had, well, what I'd say, other rolling stock land on me. I've never seen the other, like the Annie Clarabel carriage, Troublesome Trucks, or well, let's call it Toad. So I'm quite happy to have this, and the fact I've got a full loop of track as well. This next Thomas is quite a curious one. It had me a little bit puzzled initially. I picked it up from the local school fair. It's a 2002 Thomas. Some of you may know what this is about. It comes from a unusual name company. I'll look at that later on. You can see how big it is versus the Take and Play Thomas down there that's beside him. It has a classic looking face, and you could possibly say it looks like a Tomy toy, but it's not from Tomy. I'll just dive underneath and see the company behind this toy. It's a made in China toy, and the company behind it is called Mayfair. Now, my theory on this toy is this. First off, there's a few bits and bobs missing from this toy. I believe there would have been a lid or something up here on the cab, something in the back here. There's a button on the top of the funnel, and I believe that opened his face. There would have been a hinge there. That the hinge is broken, but the latch is there. And I think you stowed stuff away in there. And there's a drawer here as well. Now, I think it's a stationary caddy. That's my thoughts. I could be totally wrong. It could have come with plasticine or who knows what. I'm sure the audience will tell me, because the audience always do. There's been a little bit of wood stuff come through. All of it's 2003 except for the Clarabel, it's 2001. And you can see some of the stuff has been distressed a fair bit of hard play, while other characters seem, well, look basically untouched, and I'm looking at Percy as the one that looks almost in pristine condition. Thomas has had a bit of a run, but Percy, well, he's been in the sheds taking it easy. And as I found out through my wooden destruction testing of these toys, the Thomas & Friends brand of these toys is absolutely excellent. And while we're speaking wood, I've got two whistles. I've got a 1994 one, which sounds like this. And I've got a 2002 one. I think this is the second one of these that I've got. It sounds like this. Wow, 2002 one sounds like a big train. But looking at these as a collector, my money is on this 1994 one. Well, next up I've got two Percys. I've got one very, very large one there and one really, really small one. And both of them have a bit of a mystery around them. First up, this very large one. It's from 1992. It was made in China, but underneath it says it's licensed to Nylint Corp. That's Nylint. It's got a couple of curious features that we'll get onto very soon, but I need you to look at it first. It looks like it would stow something inside the driver's cab. I like the look of it, but I especially like that face, the Percy face that has sucked on 10 lemons. It's a bit of a curious one because when you pick it up in your hand, it really feels soft and, you know, flimsy. It's amazing that it's stood the test of time. It's got a noisemaker here, so when it's running along the ground, it makes a noise. That's had better days. It's also got a mechanism here that moves Percy's eyes when he's running along. A bit tricky showing you those eyes. It's quite a subtle movement. If I give it a spin on the table, you'll get a better sound of that noisemaker. Sounds like a duck, actually. So all you Percy fans out there, what can you tell me about this very, very unusual Percy? And now for the teeny tiny one. And my initial thoughts is it looks like something that would jump out of a cereal box at you. It actually has licensing info on the back. It's 2010. So it's actually fairly recent. So, but it's got me stumped. I have got no idea where it's from. And if I have him in my hands, you'll see just how tiny and cute he is. He's got a face that's sort of looking at you like that. Oh, hello. Got some, well, very lackluster wheels. I wouldn't want to do too much of them. And there is the licensing info. So, very much a double whammy of Percy Mystery. But this one is a bit of a Thomas conundrum or mystery. They're sort of identical Thomases. The buffers are slightly different. The face molds are slightly different. But from what I can see, the rest of these toys are identical. They both have noisemakers like the Percy had, that large Percy we just saw. Looks like they had blocks or something at the back. Actually, one's got a star-shaped block in the middle. There's another difference there. The doors are missing on both. But there's one very curious fact, and I'll have to show you underneath to let you know what it is. Well, let's first examine the one with no eyes, and also call it the sun-faded one. It's got a noisemaker. And we'll go underneath and have a look at who's behind it. Well, to no surprise, it's manufactured in China. It's got a licensing info there, 1989. And what is curious, it is a Nylint Corp toy, so it's sort of a cousin to the Percy that we've just had a look at, that large Percy. And if we have a look at the toy, you can see there would have been blocks that you put in there and played with. The door's missing on the back. And I think what is most haunting about this toy is the fact that there are no eyes. And that makes it, for some very strange reason, a very eye-catching Thomas. And that's not a pun, guys. And when looking at our cousin of the very similar style toy, it's also got a noisemaker. If I look at the back here, it's got an area where you can put blocks down. There's a different pattern block there. There's a star there instead of a triangle. The back door is missing. But it's when we look underneath this toy, the real mystery of this toy will be revealed. Well, here's the underneath of the toy. It's made by a company called Merit, and there's one very, very peculiar fact to this. Well, it doesn't have a year date, but it says made in England, and that makes this Thomas toy very, very special. I've got a feeling if I looked through all of my Thomases in my massive collection, I would struggle to find another one which is made in England. So how about that for a double whammy Thomas mystery? I'm not sure if you remember, but there's a couple of collection videos back, and a shop down the road had found me the miniature ERTL Clarabel. And well, I was always just after a Thomas, and I thought, well, should I swap out with someone else and try and get a Thomas, or should I keep on to this and, you know, cross my fingers thinking that maybe some more will turn up. These guys are really hard to find, they are rare, and I thought my chances of getting any more of these, well, were very slim. Well, I'm glad I didn't get rid of my Clarabel, because then there wouldn't have been anything for any other Thomas to be connected to. Sure, Thomas has seen better days, his smokestack is missing, but he still looks lovely and he looks stunning, and Clarabel also is stunning as well. But having this paper-faced miniature ERTL is a really, really key Thomas to have in my collection. Apart from Thomas and Annie, also Percy was in the hall, and I bet you there'd be some Percy fans out there who would love this little tiny Percy in their collection. Sure, this Percy's had a rough life, but that does not take away from the appeal of this very, very tiny model. Edward was in there as well, and he's looking splendid in classic miniature ERTL style, and he's in fairly good condition. He's certainly be easy to fix up and make look as good as new. An absolutely beautiful ERTL miniature. Along for the party is also James, and like the others, he has seen better days. He's got a bit of paint missing, but again, that wouldn't be too hard to fix. It is still an absolutely fantastic model, and I know these are extremely hard to find, especially the paper-faced ones. Well, I've got a Thomas taking play there in the background, just so you can see how miniature the miniature ERTLs are. It's taken a fair time for these to come my way. I've been fairly patient. I certainly did tell the charity shop ladies what to look out for, and they have delivered. Quite happy with the Thomas. I don't care that he's a little bit battered up. I'll look after him from this day forward. Just a real shame we don't see beautiful little toys like this anymore in the Thomas realm. I have been reading all the comments lately on all the videos, but I haven't been commenting because I haven't been feeling that well, and when you're not well you don't feel like mucking around on YouTube. Someone posted a very, very worthwhile comment, and I asked, geez Leo, what are you going to do with all those toys that you're collecting? Well, as you know, I'm only interested in collecting Thomas. I'm trying to build up one of the largest Thomas collections in the world, and I'm getting there. Here's my thoughts. I've got some very, very impressive lineups. So the characters, well, there's Percy at the back. A lot of those have been in the recent videos. Some of those models come back to previous collection videos. I'm even prepared to let my miniature ERTLs go. I really only want the Thomases. There's a lineup of Jameses there. Again, that alone is an impressive collection of toys. And if you're a James fan, you would be mighty happy to have that in your possession. I do know from my mini-me giveaway a while back that there are some very, very keen collectors of other main characters in the Thomas and Friends line. So maybe what I'll do next year is have a couple of giveaways targeting some of these individual characters, and really try and pick off the collectors who are after these other characters. The other option open to me is to return all these toys back to the charity shop where they once came, and let them be sold via the charity shop so they can earn some more money. The tricky aspect for me is if I am going to try and find genuine homes for these toys with people who collect these individual characters, I've got to find people who are genuine and not people who will just grab this stuff and flog it on eBay at the first chance. One thing the mini-me giveaway did reveal to me was there were some very, very serious collectors of certain characters. So these are the people I really need to target if they are going to be given away through my channel. So that's how it stands. I've given you some things to ponder. What should I be doing during 2013? Please let me know. Well, what I'm working towards, and hopefully we'll present this before the end of the year, I've got a few days to really go through and sort this out, is we're going to look at my whole Thomas collection. And I'm telling you now, this video is going to blow your mind. I've made my display table larger because I knew I had to do this video. I don't know whether to have half of them facing this way and the other half facing this way. or to have the whole lot facing one direction. This is something I've got to try and work out. I haven't really got them all in their order yet. There are a few mixed up Thomases in there, but it's going to hopefully be a really awesome video for you to see. There are still a few more Thomases that I've got to go and rattle out of the house. They're up in my son's collection. But I tell you what, this is an absolute testimony to what the Lions Club, the local Lions branch where I live, has done for me, because the bulk of this Thomas collection has come via them. And they've been able to secure for me two of the most difficult to find Thomases on the planet. Anyway, once I sort out this massive Thomas wonderment, I think the video will just be simply called Thomas Love. Thank you for watching this video, and as always, bye for now.